So welcome guys back to another video in the channel. We are doing another video and this is going to be probably one of our last transfer videos unless we do any more business between now and October the 16th, where the EFL window stays open, where we can buy players from the Championship, League 1 and League 2, basically in England. I don't think we should be signing anyone. Maybe Max Aarons, he would be the obvious one we could go after, but again, we've not been linked with the player, so it'll be very interesting to see whether we go after him, but I might talk a bit more on that in the coming days. But today, in today's video, I want to talk about transfers and rating, grading all our transfers and outgoings and incomings, and it'll be very interesting to see how this team does in the next season. Where will we finish? I definitely know where we could be finishing this season, but I think the final deadline day we had really helped lift spirits, but I just don't think it was enough. I will go into my reasoning, but let's get straight into it. First of all, I want to rate the signing of Pablo and Suarez. Now, these two players did come in on a loan premise in January, and their deals were made permanent at the start of this transfer window. I think for both players, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. I think Pablo, I haven't seen much of him, but he does look like a pretty good centre-back. When I have seen him, he looks pretty solid, and I think he can be a very good understudy to Gabriel, who I'm going to rate as well, and I think he will be one of our starting centre-backs. Suarez, he's played a few games for Arsenal. He's been injured for a lot of the time, but I think he's going to be quite a good backup right back. You know, his positioning is very good, but again, he's just generally okay. He's nothing amazing. He's nothing brilliant, and we did bring him in on a free transfer after loaning him from Southampton in January. He's just all right, isn't he? And I think for both players, I'm going to give a 6. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below about these two players. Should we make these two permanent? I think with Pablo and Suarez, I think yes. I think we paid around £7 million for Murray. I think that's business well done, I guess. Hopefully he can be a very good player once he does come back from his injuries. Yeah, that is those two players. Next one I'm going to be rating is Dani Ceballos. Now, I don't really want to rate Dani Ceballos because he was here on an, we always knew he was going to come back on a loan deal. At one point, it looked like we weren't going to get him because, it looked like Real Madrid wanted to keep him. Real Madrid aren't signing any players. They obviously wrote back Martin Odegaard from Real Sociedad. They let go of James Rodriguez, so it was very uncertain whether they would let go of Dani Ceballos as well. But we did get him in, and I think the back end of last season was very positive for him, and I think he was very good for us, and I think I will give this one a 7 out of 10. I think under Mikel Arteta he has looked very good, and I think hopefully we can continue using him and he can become the player he has the potential to be. This deal doesn't have any sort of option to buy or obligation to buy, I don't think, so hopefully hopefully there is an option to buy, because I think we should be trying to buy him at the end of this loan spell if he does well. But yeah, we'll just have to see about that. But with Ceballos, again, generally I'm okay with it. It's nothing, it's just a loan deal. We are just covering his wages with no loan fees. So yeah, that is Dani Ceballos. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Next one was Willian from Chelsea. This was again a free transfer. Took a while to complete, but we did end up completing the transfer of Willian from Chelsea. This one again, I will give a 7 out of 10. I think Willian is a player I always wanted to bring in. I think he's a free transfer. He was Chelsea's second best player last season. And remember, Chelsea finished 4th. He finished in a Champions League position with them. Even played Champions League football last season. So I think Willian, with his experience, will be very, very good for us. He does bring something different to the side, and I think he will help Pepe on the right hand side to give him a lot of competition. And I think generally he's just a very versatile player who can play in the middle, on the left, on the right, even as a number 10 if you want to, because we are sort of struggling on that position as we didn't sign Houssem Aouar. But I think Willian, I'm quite pleased with the signing. It's a free deal, which is quite surprising. We have given him a 3-year contract though, so will that come to bite us in the back in a year or two time? I don't know, but I think generally he has a good attitude, a very good player, and 7 out of 10. I don't mind this transfer at all. This was the second big signing of the summer, first big signing of the summer, I guess, and it was Gabriel Magalhaes from Los Leo for £27 million. £27 million. I will give an exact figure on Transfer Market. I've got the sources, all the figures from there, so yeah, go check that website out. I might leave in the description if I'm bothered. But yeah, Gabriel signed for around £27 million, 30 million euros, around about that sort of price, and he's a top defender. We've seen him already in the Premier League, and he looks really, really good, and I think think he has the potential to be, you know, one of the best, and I think I've seen enough of him to know that, and I really like the player. You know, I've seen Gabriel play over the last few weeks, and I think Mikel Arteta really likes the player. He's his sort of player. I think the way he just moves the ball from the transition to the defending is really good. I'm so upset I didn't get to see him at Anfield in the Premier League game against Liverpool, where he would be given a really good test. But hopefully Mikel Arteta does start introducing him to the actual big games against the top 6 sides. Yeah, so for Gabriel, I'm going to give him an 8. I think it's a solid signing, and I can't wait to see him for the rest of this season. Next one is Alex Runarsson. We signed from Dijon for £1.8 million. Now again, I don't know much about this player. I haven't really seen him. So, you know, by the stats, just by, you know, looking at some of his stats, I know stats don't tell the whole story, but they don't look great. You know, he's only second choice at Dijon, which is quite, he's coming in, you know, he's not good enough to be Dijon's first choice. So how is he good enough to be our second choice? You know, it's very baffling signing, one of the most baffling signings of the summer. I thought we should have gone after David Raya from Brentford, £10 million. You know, would have been a much better signing, but we'll have to trust Arsenal on this one, and that is Alex Runarsson from Dijon, who we signed for £1.8 million. I will give him a straight down the middle of 5 out of 10. I can't really downgrade on this one. I can't really give him an upgrade. So yeah, 5 out of 10 for me for Alex Runarsson. The last deal of the summer, and it was really a big one, wasn't it? Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. We triggered his €50 million release clause, and it was a big deal on deadline day. You know, we've talked about it. You guys can check out my announcement video and my update video I did on deadline day about Thomas Partey. We did get that deal done eventually at 11:15 p.m. Very late one for Arsenal on deadline day, getting that one sorted. Apparently Kroenke actually gave a cash injection to get that Thomas Partey deal sorted, but you know, we have money. This club clearly has money. We have £300 million sitting in a bank account, and it's just I don't know why we didn't do this one earlier. Atletico always said from the start, you know, we wanted the full release clause for Partey. You know, on deadline day we didn't even have to negotiate with them. We just had to give the money straight to La Liga headquarters, which we ended up doing in the afternoon of deadline day, and then we ended up securing the signing of the player late in the evening. And I think I'm so happy with the signing. You know, I always thought, you know, for a few months that he was just a rock in midfield. He's just a defensive player, but I've seen more of him, and he looks more of a technical player that is very good in transition, can also play as a number 8, as a box-to-box player, and actually provide some assists and goals from midfield as well, which is something I didn't really know about Partey. And I think you just make him the complete midfielder and the sort of the Bruno Fernandes of our team almost. Not in terms of goals, but in terms of like the world-class player we need in our side. And I think Thomas Partey, you know, as a general player, a well-known player to Bruno Fernandes, you know, he wasn't really that well-known before he joined Manchester United, was he? But he's still regarded as a good player, don't get me wrong. But I think Partey, he'll be so good for us. Again, I just don't think he'll get us into the top 4. I will go into that in a bit when I rate the whole transfer window. But for this one, Thomas Partey, it has to be a 10 out of 10 signing. This is a 10 out of 10 signing. This is a transfer all Arsenal fans wanted. So yeah, that is Thomas Partey, and that we have signed him for €50 million and 8 out of 10. The big transfer on deadline day. Now I'll quickly go through the outgoings. The main one was Emiliano Martinez, who we let go for Aston Villa. I'll give the exact figure, but it's between 15 to 20 million pounds. We let Martinez go for Aston Villa. I do think that's a rip-off. I think he is worth much more than that, but I think Arsenal just looked at it and said, you know, this time last year we were going to get around, you know, a few million quid for him, and the fact that we're getting up to 20 million pounds, which could include add-ons, is very good. And I think Arsenal just took it, and that's how they probably funded the deal for Gabriel Magalhaes and Alex Runarsson as well. So again, I'm not very happy with this. I think we should have kept hold of him. I'm not going to rate the outgoings because there's really no point. There's some I would have kept, some I wouldn't have kept. But I think with Martinez, I'm kind of sad to let him go, but I can see why Arsenal did it. But yeah, for Emi Martinez, he joined Aston Villa quite middle of the window, I guess, and he signed for around £20 million, between 15 to 20 million pounds. £20 million is probably, I think, including add-ons. Next one is Matteo Guendouzi. We let him go on a loan deal to Hertha Berlin. This was done on deadline day. Again, this one I'm alright with. I think this is a very good move. I think the fact that we're not letting him go on a permanent basis is something I really like, because something, you know, let's say he blows it up at Hertha Berlin, he plays really well, and he turns into 40-50 million pound footballer, which he could, because I think he really has the potential to do so. And then we could bring him back maybe in January, maybe next summer, and sell him for good cash, and bring in someone else. So I see what Arsenal have done that. Bundesliga, very competitive league, and I think he will do is good there, and I wish him all the best. And Matteo Guendouzi move to Hertha Berlin on a loan deal. Next one is Lucas Torreira, who joined Atletico Madrid. This was not part of the Thomas Partey deal. This was a separate deal which Atletico Madrid were waiting in the wings for. He completed a medical. Atletico just needed a player to leave before they could complete his signing. Maybe they were expecting Arsenal to trigger his release clause, I'm not too sure. But when Arsenal did sign the player, Atletico basically announced Torreira as well. It wasn't a swap deal of any sort. It was two separate deals. And Atletico Madrid have signed Lucas Torreira for a loan deal with an option to buy for around 21 million euro. And I think, Torreira, I really rate Torreira. I think he'll fit straight into Diego Simeone's plans. He's that sort of player. He's a Simeone type player, and I think they will probably end up making his loan permanent next summer. We'll have to see about that, but I wish him all the best for the season. Next one is Henrik Mkhitaryan. Henrik Mkhitaryan was a player, at the start of the window, we announced that he was going to leave on a permanent basis to Roma. We initially loaned him out. We were trying to get a transfer fee out to Roma, but we ended up cancelling his contract, and he did end up leaving to Roma on a permanent basis. Can't say much more about this. He hasn't been here for a year, but yeah, Mkhitaryan has left the club. Next one is Konstantinos Mavropanos. He went to Stuttgart on loan. This is probably one of the first deals that happened of the window. It was really, really early on, and Mavropanos, I think, again, he signed a new contract with the club and then immediately got loaned out. So hopefully Mavropanos does become a better player, and hopefully maybe if he does well in Germany, we can sell him permanently for more money, and I think that would be very good for the club. And yeah, I can't really say much more than that because he was actually on loan last season. I forgot what the club was, but yeah, that is it for the incomings and outgoings. And I think in all, as like an overall rating, I will give this window a 5 out of 10. I just don't think we did enough in this transfer window. Yes, the late move for Thomas Partey was very, very good, and I'm very excited to see him in the Premier League. I think he will take his levels above, where we're probably going to be finishing if we didn't sign him, and I think that's very, very good. In terms of like how he structured my points, if you like, I think the signing of Gabriel gave me 2 points, and Willian signing gave me 3, and Partey's gave me 5. I'm not going to count Ceballos, he was already here last season. Marie and Cedric, they were also here last season, and Runarsson, I don't know much about him, so I can't really give him a point for that. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. What would you rate this transfer window? I just don't think we did enough. I think if we signed a War and a right back, I'd really be pushing the grades high and giving an 8 or a 9 on this. But no, I just don't think we did enough in this transfer window. Really, I was really worried at deadline day if we would sign anyone. People were saying we wouldn't sign anyone, but out of nowhere, we really pulled out Thomas Partey out of the hat, and that was very, very good. But, I don't think it saved, I think to a degree it saved this transfer window, but I think we needed a War as well as a minimum. I said this all along the window, we needed both Partey and a War for this to be, a good window, and I think a right back was also needed. We could easily go out and sign a right back, Max Aaron's Championship, Norwich, maybe Max Aaron starts agitating for a move, maybe Norwich lower their price and we could try and negotiate something, and that's a really real possibility, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that. Obviously, you won't be able to play in the Europa League because we've just submitted the squad for that, but you can be playing in the Premier League if we do get on that on your line. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your thoughts about this transfer window in the comment section down below. That is it for the transfer window, and we'll be back in January, and that's not that far away.